Hey y'all, I'm going to be streaming this best team for Radical Red right here on the channel. If you can't make the stream, don't worry about it. The parts will be uploaded over on MysticSage. I'm also going to be doing some Inuyasha content on MysticSage and more Genshin Impact content on Zora. I'm actually streaming Genshin on my Twitch, so if you like that game, definitely go and check that out. Oh, and follow my Insta, Twitter, and TikTok where you can see me and my lovely life and cringiness. With that being said though, hope you guys enjoy the video. Links for all those will be in the description below. It's time to continue here with our top 10 strongest series. And this time, I think you guys really got the order right. I'm sure everyone watching already knows this, but the electric typing only has one weakness, and that's the ground typing. We handled them last week, so today we've got the electric types, and they've got no ground types standing in their way now. Just as a reminder, for the next few weeks after, I'll be taking the final 5 typings and bringing the series to a conclusion, so I hope you guys are ready for plenty of top 10 action. Electric types are mainly known for being speedy and fantastic special attackers. We've got a list today that, well, I'll be straight up with you, it's legendary heavy, just like the flying type list. So once more, like that one, I'm gonna ask if you guys want to see a non-legendary top 10 of the strongest electric types down the line. Let me know down in the comments below. For now though, it's time to put a shock to our systems. I feel that these electric types we have here today represent some of the best of the typing, and I really hope you guys see that. So we're opening up this top 10 with a Pokemon that's not legendary, but might as well be as iconic as one. I didn't think I could really bring up Pikachu here, as it isn't exactly one of the strongest. However, it's a massive deal, so I figured we could talk about Raichu, both its Cantonian and Alolan form, here to start things off. Basically, I'm admitting here that Raichu just might be the best non-legendary electric type ahead of Jolteon, Electivire, and Ampharos. It's as simple as this. Raichu in its regular Cantonian form has a nice speed stat of 110 and a duo of base 90 attacks, meaning it's going to work on either end of the spectrum. As for the Alolan Raichu, it switches over to 95 base special attack and 85 attack while keeping that great speed, which is fitting considering it becomes a psychic electric type. That's honestly such a good typing, by the way. It screams being a dominant special attacker, and it truly can be. It can get nice and fast too, with Surge Surfer, having its speed doubled if there is an electric terrain up. As I said, both forms of Raichu are very good, both getting access to moves like Thunderbolt, Surf, and Focus Blast. They can both set up too, as Calm Mind is a learnable TR. Since the Cantonian form has a chance to be either physical or special, it can make usage of some really interesting physical moves, like Play Rough and Brick Break, both of which offer it some nice coverage. Really, it's a blessing that either of them have Surf as a move in their pool, since it's a strong answer for their only weakness. As for the Alolan Raichu, it has access to powerful stab Psychic type moves, like Psychic and Psyshock, so I can see why a lot of you guys are probably all in on the Alolan form over the Cantonian one. All in all, Raichu is really friggin' good, and it definitely belongs aside the best of the electric typing. Now, we're gonna leap right into the legendary pool, this time taking a trip to the region of Johto. That's right, we're talking about Raikou, the Thunder Pokemon. Who would I have been if I left off the literal Thunder Pokemon? Well, I'm no hack, and that's why we're highlighting Raikou and its 115 speed and special attack, as well as a tremendously solid 100 base special defense. There's 90 HP on Raikou as well, so there's believable bulk here, meaning it can really take the hits. I also don't want to forget about its abilities, or rather, its hidden ability, since no one really cares about pressure. Well, actually, its hidden ability isn't all that interesting either, being Inner Focus. However, the interesting story here is the hidden ability of Raikou that never was actually released to us. For whatever reason, Game Freak gave Raikou Volt Absorb as a hidden ability, which would have been really awesome to have. I really don't know why they held back on it. Same goes of Suicune and Entei, but whatever I guess. Let's check out the move pool now, and I want to of course point out Calm Mind. Setting up Raikou is a great idea, and as we went over earlier, getting its already high special defense and attack even higher is just tremendous. As for attacks, it's got Thunder and Thunderbolt. That of course brings the electric typing out front and center. And then a nice pivot move like Volt Switch is in the equation as well. For coverage, Raikou can actually get Scald for whatever reason. And there's also Shadow Ball and Aura Sphere too. Raikou is really good, and it's telling of the quality of legendary electric types that a Pokemon as good as this has so many others ahead of it. We're gonna get mythical now, and enter the Thunderclap Pokemon, Zeraora. Speaking of mythicals, by the way, go check out my video ranking the mythicals from weakest to strongest. So, unlike Raikou, Game Freak actually pulled the trigger of Zeraora and gave it Volt Absorb. So, when it's hit with an electric type move, it gets healed. As for the stats, Zeraora is insanely fast, with 143 base speed, which allows it to essentially outspeed any other Pokemon. Its attack stats really live up to the speed type as well, with 112 physical and 102 special. Really, for as good as Zeraora is, it's sort of expected that its defenses would be awful. And while they're not super great, they're actually more solid than you'd think, at 80 base special and 75 base physical. Right off the bat, we'll talk about Zeraora's signature move, Plasma Fists. It's pretty strong, with 100 base power, and it's got 100% accuracy as well, so you don't have to worry too much about missing. It's also got a weird effect too after hitting, where it makes all the normal type moves in the same turn that come after Zeraora attacks. There's also some other moves that Zeraora gets, like Close Combat and Play Rough, which are great for coverage and is hitting really hard. It's a bit unfortunate that Zeraora doesn't get access to any water or ice type moves to help it out against its ground type problem, but it's sort of a trade-off you can make since it offers such strong coverage moves against other typings. At the end of the day, Zeraora is just really good, but not good enough to be any higher on the list than this. It's got a lot of coverage options, and can be used physically and specially, but without a reliable way to handle its weaknesses, it definitely fell behind. Alright, so this isn't a legendary Pokemon. Though, to be fair, a lot of people have mistaken Rotom for one in the past. You can get it in a rather weird way in Diamond and Pearl, and there is only one you're able to get. Though, since then, Wild Rotom have become a lot more common, and that misconception of its status as a legendary Pokemon has just become cleared up. So, why Rotom here at number 7? Well, the big reason is the massive amount of choices Rotom offers us. It's got 5 different forms that bring a unique spin to the battle. I'd like to highlight 2 of them, being Rotom Wash and Rotom Heat. They share a stat line with the other Rotom forms that boast 107 defenses and 105 special attack. So you've got some defensive forms here that can hit hard, and that should always be respected in battle. Every single one of the Rotom forms has access to Levitate, so there isn't anything that Electric type does that holds this Pokemon back. Rotom Wash is only going to be weak to grass types, which is fantastic. And while Rotom Heat has a weakness to rock and water, it gets even more of a boost from Levitate, since ground would be ×4 effective against its typing in normal circumstances. All the Rotom forms get a special move they can learn when they transform, like Blizzard for the Frost form, Air Slash for the Fan form, and Leaf Storm for the Mow form. Those are 3 great moves, especially Air Slash, and it's further proof that Game Freak really put in some good thoughts when creating this Pokemon. As for the 2 forms we're highlighting here, the Wash form gets access to Hydro Pump, while Heat gets, well, Overheat. Now the unfortunate part here is that these are the only stab moves alternate forms get. So the moves they'll get from TMs and TRs, as well as by level up and tutors, are the same across all forms. Thankfully, however, while using the nice stab moves they do get, they'll have others that take advantage of the electric typing, like Thunderbolt and Volt Switch. All in all, the many different forms of Rotom helped earn it a spot on this list, and it fits in comfortably right here at number 7. Alright, let's get back to the legendary Pokemon now, as it's only those from here on out. So far, while we've gone through these top 10s, we've done both Fire and Ice already, but neither of those included one of Kanto's legendary bird Pokemon. Hell, the Flying List was the first time we got one of them, and once again, we're talking about that same one. That's right, we've got none other than the electric Pokemon itself, Zapdos. It's a shame we can't talk about the Galarian form at all, but maybe it should have thought about that before it lost its electric typing. It felt like a really easy decision to choose Zapdos as the Pokemon closing out the bottom half of the list, as it's an electric and flying type, which is just a great duo of typings. You have no weaknesses coming from the electric type, and that typing also helps take away a flying weakness. Zapdos has very nice special attack and speed, with 125 in the former and 100 in the latter, and its other stats are a bit balanced too, which is nice. Defensively, it's alright, with 85 physical and 90 special, and its HP is base 92. All in all, when it comes to stats, Zapdos is a really solid Pokemon. Though, I'd say the big thing that helped it secure a spot on this top 10, aside from its stats and typing, is definitely the move pool it has got. Naturally, Zapdos has access to great electric type moves, like Discharge, Thunderbolt, and Volt Switch. It actually doesn't really have all that many flying type moves that take advantage of that special attack, though really the most important flying type move it has access to is Roost. There's some great moves outside of Stab though that it gets access to, however, that I really think pushes it hard, like Heat Wave for ice types. It's also got a move that will support you a bit too, in Defog, which helps get rid of hazards. And that's a pretty big part of things that I feel really pushes Zapdos into this spot. You've got a nice attacker with some coverage and options to it, and it's pretty simple to see why Zapdos belongs right here outside the top 5. You know, there is an electric flying type that is better than Zapdos, and we're going to talk about it right now. Thundurus is, to some, a worse option than Zapdos, though many people will agree that Thundurus is a superior option. And I think a big part of that is thanks to having 2 forms that each have their own purpose. When you send out the incarnate form of Thundurus, you're being given a Pokemon with 115 attack and 125 special, plus a wonderful base 111 speed. Though perhaps even more importantly, you'll have moves like Thunder Wave, Nasty Plot, and Taunt that get the priority boost from Prankster. And even with the nice speed stat that Thundurus has, it's still nice to have a guarantee that some of these moves are used before the opponent can attack, especially Taunt. Now, when you become the Therian form, you lose Prankster as an ability and instead have Volt Absorb. But obviously, that's a pretty good ability too. The stats layout change to give Thundurus a massive 145 base special attack while lowering the physical attack to 105 and the speed to 101. Regardless of the form you have, you still have a pretty good Pokemon at your disposal. The moves that Thundurus gets include the ones that are prioritized by Prankster, like Taunt and Thunder Wave, and then a ton of other moves as well that just really make Thundurus a massive offensive option. Discharge and Thunderbolt are obviously dominant electric type moves, and Volt Switch will allow you to get in and out of battle in the same vein as U-Turn. There's some nice coverage too, like the all-important Flash Cannon or Focus Blast, which will hit hard against the 2 typings it's weak to. That's really not all either, because Sludge Bomb, Grass Knot, Dark Pulse, Psychic, it's just got access to so many different typings. Thundurus doesn't really make use of its flying typing, which is unfortunate, but it puts even more focus on how great of an electric type it is. This Force of Nature is a great opener to our top 5. Let's keep it right in the Unova region with the Pokemon that adorns the box art of Pokemon White, Zekrom. So we've got our strongest Pokemon thus far, as Zekrom has got 150 base attack, which is the mirror of Reshurum's 150 base special attack. Zekrom is decently fast as well, with 90 base speed, but rather, we should focus on that fantastic bulk of 100 base HP and special defense, alongside 120 base defense. Zekrom is taking hits and hitting back hard, which is all you can really ask a Pokemon to do, honestly. The Terravolt ability is essentially a special version of Mold Breaker for Zekrom, allowing moves to hit regardless of the ability that the opponent has. So it can use a ground type move on a Pokemon with Levitate, for example. So yeah, it's essentially just Mold Breaker, but with a cooler name. As for moves, Zekrom has access to the usual great electric type moves, like Thunderbolt and Volt Switch, and some nice stab dragon type moves and Outrage and Breaking Swipe. We also can't forget about some coverage moves like Stone Edge and Steel Wing, but most importantly, we gotta bring up Bolt Strike. It's Zekrom's signature move, and it's got a wonderful base 130 power with a 20% chance to paralyze the opponent. All in all, Zekrom is a damn fine electric type that fits squarely into this number 4 spot. We reached the 3rd spot on the list now, and it's taken by a Pokemon we talked about a long time ago back in the Fairy type top 10. Back then, I mentioned how much better of an electric type it was, and its spot being this high is proof of that reality. Topococo just embodies the electric typing in both design and strength, but even then, there is still merit in its ability as a Fairy type. Its stats boast a great 130 base speed and 115 base attack, but the big issue is that as a Fairy type, it doesn't have access to a physical Fairy type move. However, if you feel so inclined, you can always focus on the 95 base special attack instead and set it with Calm Mind, meaning it'll be able to build above special stats in a way to make them very useful. You'll want to focus on the electric typing though with this Island Guardian. It gets access to moves like Wild Charge, Volt Switch, and Electro Ball, which really is optimal considering the 130 base speed Topococo has. It sets up electric terrain with its ability, which powers up its electric type moves, and can prevent it from being put to sleep. As for coverage, it can use Grass Knot, if you really want coverage against ground types, and Stored Power is a real option for poison types if it uses set up with Calm Mind at all. I'd say that perhaps Topococo is actually held back by the Fairy typing, but really, it's all good. Topococo is a really fun electric type that fits in very comfortably here at the top 3. We're now in the penultimate spot, which is being held by our first Galarian Pokemon, and actually, the newest electric-type Pokemon, Reggia Lucky. Guys, have you ever seen a Pokemon with 200 base speed? No, you haven't, and that's the truth. The previous high at speed stat belonged to Deoxys speed form, which capped at a base 180, but this thing just breaks the sound barrier. Reggia Lucky sends out base 100 attack stats on both ends alongside that speed stat. And while it has no bulk to speak of, that's completely alright when you're able to outspeed literally everything and anything. Its ability Transistor powers all of its electric type moves up, giving them a 50% power boost, which works hand in hand with Stab to make all of its electric type moves deadly. Let's look at the move Electro Ball for a moment. You've got to assume, under a lot of circumstances, its base power will probably be at least 120, and at times can be 150. And if we take the 120 base power and add in the boost from Stab and Transistor, Reggia Lucky will hit for 337 base power on that Electro Ball. That's quite frankly all we need to talk about here. Honestly, I need more time with Reggia Lucky to truly decide if it should be number 1, but it's basically right there. So, just like that, we're left with this serious question as we reach the number 1 spot. What do I really think is higher than Reggia Lucky? Well, it's the one Pokemon that I think offers enough strength to overcome its speed. We're talking about, of course, UB03 Lightning, the Ultra Beast, Xurkitree. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. 173 base special attack. That's it. That's the tweet. Well, I guess there's a little bit more to it, like having access to Energy Ball as coverage for its only weakness, and of course, being able to set up Calm Mind to get even stronger. Look, sometimes raw power is a bit better than just being speedy and having one nuclear bomb-esque move. Xurkitree is great, and with Beast Boost making it even stronger with every Pokemon it knocks out, it's understandably the only one electric type ahead of Reggia Lucky. Well, folks, that'll do it for another top 10. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, and also if you'd like to see a non-legendary version of this one. Next week, we're bringing you guys the fighting type top 10, so be on the lookout for that. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream all sorts of games from Pokemon to Fire Emblem to Zelda and much more. I also have an anime channel called MysticSage where I do anime reviews, rankings, and countdowns, so if you're interested in that kind of content, go ahead and check that out as well. If you want to support me even further and gain cool perks, check out my Patreon. These lovely people have all given me their support over there and I couldn't be more grateful to them. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.